people. Yeah, even though I don't know why. I would have thought that somebody who's done, who's done great work, because there are lawyers amongst you who understand the power of the media, who've leveraged on it, and have made a huge success of it. Would be the ones to do this particular discussion and tell you particular insights that would really help you in your line as a lawyer. But Charlie is very, very persuasive. He would make a fantastic program producer as well as, well, he's a fantastic lawyer, I believe. But I'm not going to speak too much today. I'll be very interested in your questions. I'll be interested in insights that you would like to have. And I want to believe that a lot of people here understand what the media is and understand that it is a powerful tool indeed. So I'm going to, just give you a brief overview, just in case you're not very certain, just what the media is. In case you're not certain, I will go through that. But I'm more interested in your thoughts and your perspectives and your questions based on what is happening in the world today and perhaps where the media stands on that. So just in case we don't know, the media is just a means, is an instrument of mass information. In the old days, we talked about those who held monopoly of the media, the print houses, the radio houses, and later the powerful TV houses also joined the fray. Now, I've added powerful to TV, not only because of my bias, but because radio and TV are the one medium that governments, through the help of lawyers, of course, have written rules to regulate. The immediacy of the message they pass across can have very positive influences, but also very dire negative consequences. An example is the genocide that happened in Rwanda. The messages passed on electronic media, especially radio, more than any other means, was said to have instigated the killing of close to 1 million people in a matter of days and displaced millions more. Now, coming to our own days, coming to our times, the monopoly held by the traditional media outfits has since been shattered, either for good or for bad, since the advent of social media, of course, or since the advent of the internet, and then, of course, much later, social media. Platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., have since liberalized the space, and anyone with anything to say, anything at all, it doesn't have to make any sense, can be heard by the audience that they've garnered, who could in turn further disseminate the message. And so people begin to choose whom they want to follow, very much the same way you choose the radio stations you want to listen to, or you change the TV station with the flick of your remote control. So it's now your content that differentiates you and the sorts of people that you want to appeal to. And the one thing about lawyers is that they are relevant everywhere. I mean, if anyone doubts that, just go anywhere and look at the people who draft the contracts, or the people who wade into agreements, or the people who weigh into arguments. Oftentimes, they're lawyers. So you guys are relevant everywhere and anywhere. So if you want to be relevant to entertainment, for instance, you begin to look at, the areas of entertainment which you think could, reside with law, or areas you think could be regulated through law. And your content will be tailored through, to that. For instance, the people that you follow, the people that you want to talk to, and the people that you want to, come to your space. You have to find a way to attract them to your space. And the lawyers who have done that, they built their clout there and they're doing great work, specializing in helping entertainers, through the confusing world of rights, contracts, copyrights, and etc. Now, if you want to build your clout in politics, which is a very lucrative enterprise, you maintain a consistent voice on political matters, oftentimes willing to take risks that come with it. I don't think that we need to go too far to find examples. Gani Fawehinmi is a fantastic example in the days of the military rule when people were too afraid to speak. He was never afraid. Of course, it came at a price. And he wasn't doing it for self. He did it mostly for, for generality of the masses, and people benefited from that. There are those who have found a way to do it for self. There are people who speak up on government issues, taking the side of government oftentimes, not because they don't, they really want to do it for themselves, but because that's the side they've chosen to take. It's free will, isn't it? And if you ask some people, I mean, for instance, Ebun Oluwadeborua, who writes a column nowadays, he's very vocal. You call him on TV, he's happy to come. He's on radio, he's willing to share his views. He'll also tell you that, you know, sharing your thoughts and building your clout in that way also comes at a price. He's told me about how he's missed juicy government contracts, you know, or briefs as a result of his activism. So you will choose how you want to play, where you want to play, and how loud you want to be. Now, for me, the edge that lawyers have come from their training. Now, we're told that the law is an us, and 100 lawyers can hold as many opinions from the same set of facts. In a world where disinformation and fake news are now a thing, and facts are no longer sacred, the lawyers should have an edge. And I use the word should very advisedly, because you can decide that you want to be one of those for whom facts is not sacred. But we want to believe that the natural training of lawyers is that facts are sacred. And as such, building from facts, they should be able to make very persuasive opinions, swaying their audience one way or another, depending on where their views tilt. So I think that is a very, very important edge you already have right there. I'll also tell you this. In my early days as a journalist, I mean, I came into this through radio. I was a radio girl from university. I didn't know anything about the Constitution. In fact, I never heard of it. Maybe I heard of it in passing, but I wasn't, maybe it's the days of military era, you know, that crept up on us, and somehow I never really heard. Did I do government? I did government or JAM. Maybe that's where I heard of Constitution. Oh yes, I did hear of Constitution. But I did not quite realize just how important it was in governing our affairs as a people, especially in our democratic setting. But the moment I started in journalism, I realized that, oh my God, there is something called the Constitution. For you to be a Nigerian and realize that you have rights, and, you know, realize what is expected of you as a citizen, a general idea of what the Constitution says is important. Now, lawyers do not have that. They're not in the dark about that. I want to think that from year one, when you're, maybe even from secondary school, but maybe it's impressed even strongly from year one in doing your law program. You already know what the Constitution is about. I don't know. I want to believe and assume that this is true. And a lot of lawyers are advised or, you know, encouraged to commit it to heart. I want to believe that that is the situation, that lawyers actually commit the Constitution to heart and are able to quote from it as, you know, as needed. It's an edge. Not every Nigerian, in fact, majority of Nigerians do not even know that there exists something called a Constitution. Perhaps it's one of the things that set you guys aside as being learned. And as such, when it comes to certain things, people immediately look to lawyers for their opinions. Their opinions are sought after. And I think that is another edge which you should not, you know, you shouldn't rest on. You shouldn't just take for granted. Because sometimes we have certain skills that are peculiar to our industry that we tend to, you know, take for granted. I will say, do not take that knowledge for granted. The question is, how do you build on it in such a way that, you know, you are able to get an edge in the media space? And I think that it's just the same thing you do for any other industry that you're in. A number of tips which I'm going to share here, they're available online if you want to quickly, you know, take a quick look. Is one, build a credible reputation. What do people think of you and your views? When you put out your views out there, do people relate with it? Do they engage with you? Be it on Twitter, be it on whatever social media platform you're using, if it's Facebook. How do people regard your tweet? Do they look forward to it? Not just your tweet now, your comments, your opinion, whenever it is you share it. How aware are you that you could be a brand in whatever area you've decided to specialize? If you're aware of that, are you building it? That is another issue you should look at. And then, do you do this consistently? Now, I can tell you something. Maybe I take for granted the fact that I'm on TV and every morning I get the opportunity to be able to share my thoughts on certain issues. I know how difficult it is to stay relevant, especially on social media, if that's where you're starting from. But I can tell you that if that is where you decide to go, social media is a most relevant tool. And one of the ways that you continue to build your followership, I understand that people who are going to deal with that, later on. But one of the ways you consistently build your followership and also build clout in such a way that the traditional media outfits cannot overlook you is by staying consistent and relevant. So there are people whom we have discovered online. Hitherto, we didn't know them, and maybe there was no other way we would have known them except through the content that they tweet or through the content that they post on their Facebook pages. So that is something that I'm going to tell you not to take for granted, because much as traditional media sometimes views social media as a threat, they cannot underestimate the contributions that social media have already made to making and enriching content on traditional media. Now, you also have to try and increase your reach. Well, that one usually happens when you find that your content is appreciated, and oftentimes before you know what's happening, you might be asked by traditional media outfits to give us some content. There are people who do columns for newspaper houses, for instance. And that's one way of increasing your reach. And of course, if people appreciate what it is that you're posting, the chances that they will want to retweet or they will want to repost, attributing sources to you. These days, WhatsApp is another veritable way. If you usually put your name at the end of your post, when it goes viral, it certainly will go viral with your name. So you certainly find a way to increase your reach. And then effective communication. And I think that this is one area that lawyers will have to pay great attention to, because much as your training naturally, helps you to, it already gives you certain edge, or let's say a certain edge over others. I think that same training also, limits you somewhat when you come to communication. So for instance, I find lawyers to be a little verbose. Pardon me, some lawyers talk too much. They either talk too much or describe one small thing with too many words. They're trying to say one thing and they use too many words to say. Today's world does not need that sort of, you have to find a way to be simple in your communication. You have to find a way to retain the attention of your audience. So I'll say that number one, which is building a credible reputation, is very important. And number 5 is also very important, because you mustn't forget that the attention span of your audience is getting shorter and shorter. And with the many things competing for their curiosity, it's very important that you keep your message simple, short, interesting, and to the point. This is important on social media as it is on radio and TV. Only those who are journalists can understand. Of course, if I find you boring, there is no way I'm going to be inviting you to any of my shows. That's certainly not going to happen. You have to find a way to be able to engage with the person whom you're talking with in such a way that the conversation is stimulating and that people will want to tune in. And it's only when that happens, when there is chemistry in the conversation, that you find that you sometimes wonder why it is that only certain people get invited to programs. There are a number of reasons for that, but one of them I can tell you is, if we find the person interesting and he's somebody that, would I say, instigates stimulating conversations, controversial conversations in such a way that people can engage with, that person will consistently get invited. That is a fact, I can tell you. So, but that only happens after they've built a consistent reputation on their personal platforms. Now, these little tips, I know we're talking about pre-COVID, beg your pardon, we're talking about post-COVID issues, or even in the middle of COVID, because we've been told that this pandemic is going to be with us for a while. They'll be relevant in COVID times, they'll be relevant after COVID times, as they were relevant pre-COVID times. Thank you very much for listening. As I said, I don't intend to speak too much. I intend to listen to your questions and your thoughts on the matter, and perhaps whatever else you have to say on it. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very, very much, Maupe. I'm so excited. Very short, very, very insightful, and deep. I want questions to come from the house. And I was supposed to have mentioned that if you have questions, I would want you to drop them in the chat room. Just drop your questions there. I will pick your questions from there, and I will ask Maupe immediately after Maupe's Q&A. we will have a panel session. And already the panelists are in the house. I can see Chioma, Unini Chioma Kate, I can see her there. You want to just say hello? While people are writing their question, just say hello, Chioma. I'm trying to unmute your mic. I don't know why it's not allowing me to do so. Okay, I'll bring Chioma on now. I don't know why I'm not able to unmute your mic, but okay, yeah, off now. Chioma. And then we have Chioma is the founder of the Nigerian Lawyer. It's a foremost blog in Nigeria for lawyers. Chioma, hello. I can cite you there. Yes. I can also cite, I can see here right in front of me, the founder of Legal Nigeria, Kayode Agbedejobi. You want to say hello to us? Kayode Agbedejobi.
Hello, everyone. Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Charles. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I can also see the founder of Legal Niger. Legal Niger is also here. Can you say hello? Adejumade.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here, and it's been wonderful so far. Thank you to the last speaker for such an amazing presentation.
Thank you very much. I'm looking out for Gloria and Bridget. Once I see them, I would welcome them formally. Now let's go quickly to the questions. And I'm going to start with the questions. Maupe, you said something about, amongst other things, consistent voice. Consistent voice. Now that looks so vague to someone like me, maybe because I'm not actively in the media space. But you talk about consistent voice. I understand the meaning of consistent, I understand the meaning of voice. But when you say consistent voice, do you want to shed a bit of light on that particular thing so it helps us to understand its application?
Now, Charles, I'm going to say something that being consistent is easier said than done. So I think it's very important. I'm going to be
preaching. Consistency that we are talking about is
yes.
said than done. How many years is it going to take? How consistent do you have to be?
Let me give you an instance, and I have to keep confessing as I go along, so that I can tell you that if you are not certain how to be consistent, I can tell you that it's a tough journey, so that you don't approach this from a place of, oh, she's done it. I would tell you something. If I weren't on TV, you most likely would not know me. The chances are very high that you will not know me, because on social media, I tweet occasionally. Maybe nowadays I'm doing it twice a week. I realize that I have to be a little more consistent, and I shouldn't take the fact that I'm on TV for granted. But I'll tell you people who I look up to, who have remained very consistent in my space. People that anytime I go to Twitter, for instance, there is this man, I don't know how many of you follow him. If you don't, I'll advise you to. His name is Dr. Joe Abba. I don't know if you have heard of him. Let me just see your hand like this. If you have heard of Dr. Joe Abba, he is a man who is consistent. People know where he stands on issues. I mean, he said, I'm very passionate about governance issues. And so he picks issues that have to do with government and governance and breaks it down in such a way that people can understand, especially when these issues have to do, with controversial issues or things that people do not understand, or things that, people have overlooked and think, well, it should just go with the wind. He will pick it up and he will break it down in such a way that people will understand, even when there is nothing trending. It doesn't even have to be a government issue. He can decide that he just wants to play on Twitter that day, and he's there, consistently using his voice. He will tweet something either every day, but at least before the week runs out, you can be sure or certain that you will hear from Dr. Joe Abba. Now, that is on Twitter. On my Instagram, for instance, which I recently joined and I started taking notice of, even though I'm still not, very conversant with how the handle is used. I'm still struggling with it. there is Alibaba, whom I follow on Instagram. Alibaba on a daily basis doesn't post anything. He posts at least maybe upwards of 10 pictures. 10 pictures, some of them with messages, some of them maybe without any messages. But oftentimes, or on a daily basis, you will be sure to hear one message or another from Alibaba. This is somebody who already has, visibility, who already has, a face, or he's already popular. He doesn't really need the media to, stay popular, but he's found a way to find a niche for himself in such a way that he continuously stays relevant. And he does that by being consistent on the platforms that he's chosen. So he's not on Twitter, he's chosen Instagram as his base, but he's ensuring that he keeps his viewers on Instagram or his followers on Instagram consistently entertained. So for me, if you talk about consistency, that is one way to build consistency. It is one way to suddenly get noticed. There is no way you're tweeting every day to people, or you're tweeting things that are relevant that people want to hear and follow, that they wouldn't listen to you. I don't see that happening. There are people who might follow on Instagram who were nobodies, absolute nobodies. They'll tell you 2-3 years ago, they were nobodies. There's this young lady whom I follow. She helps people build their brands. She helps people access opportunities for marketing, opportunities for growth in their businesses. She's doing fantastic work in that regard. She doesn't tweet anything, or she doesn't, put up any pictures or post every day on Instagram. She puts up at least 5. I can't do that much. I mean, I'm hoping to just do 1 at the very least. So start from there and then build a consistent voice. She's been able to attract people, because you find that when your post is relevant, you find people reposting that post, and before you know what's happening, people who did not know you before now, but find you interesting, will find a way to find you, and before you know what's happening, you are building clout, and no one can ignore you. I hope that is a little clear.
You simplified it, and you've answered my question. Even though, there was a time, like you said, and I will confess, since we are the whole confession time, that I try to be consistent, and it can be very overwhelming. It can be very tedious. It can be difficult, considering the regular kind of life you have to live. I'll ask this question before I take the other questions that have been sent to me. For those that have their hands raised up, just send your questions into the chat room. I will read them out. Just drop your questions. I see that Mr. Larry Fashola is also here with us. He's one of the panelists. I see Larry Fashola. You want to say something so that we know you are, at least everybody sees you. I already can see you. You want to just say hello, Mr. Larry Fashola?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Ajiboye, for this opportunity.
You are very welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. I also saw Gloria Ireka. She was with us shortly. I saw her. Gloria, do you want to say something so that we all see your face? We're going to the panel session immediately after now. But I know that Gloria is here. We're going to welcome her and go into the panel session. Now, the part I wanted to ask a question around before I take the other questions that are here with me, and others can send to the chat room as well, is I noticed that you have what we call influencers in the media space. It's easy to get brand ambassadors in the entertainment world. It's very easy for people in entertainment space to develop contents that are on the levels of entertainment and get a lot of followers, get a lot of traction, and they're easy to be called ambassadors of this, ambassadors of that. But it's not so easy for people that are in much more serious spaces for them to get that kind of attention. You find out that an average celebrity, as it were, virtually on their start button, they are already having verified handles and all of those things. Apart from people like you that have verified handles on Twitter, and it's easy for you to get all those verifications. People like lawyers and people that are in much more conservative space that supply knowledge, information, and direction hardly get that kind of attention. How do you think that it can get to that stage? Because there's also a lot of monetary parts to getting those attention. So, for example, if a Davido has 5 million views on one of his posts, it tells any brand person that that kind of person is a good product, is a good personality to put your products on, to market for you and to make an ambassador. How do you get that kind of level within the intellectual space, within, considering the fact that the whole landscape is changing and people must begin to think out of the box? I don't know if you got that question, Maupe.
I did get the question.
Okay.
Now I'm going to tell you something. It is indeed true that the level, that the space is not level. There is no level playing field in the social media industry, and well, will I even say social? Let me say in the media industry in general, so that celebrities immediately hog the limelight in such a way that maybe even journalists cannot dream of. But even us, I mean, I dare say that we're a little more fortunate than, say, people who have absolutely no platform, save what they themselves are building by themselves. And I think that's where consistency is very important, and perhaps a way to even find to be associated with these brands. So I'll give you an instance. I've seen people on Instagram who started from scratch. I'll tell you something for free. On my Twitter handle was verified, not because I even knew what verification was, as at the time I was verified. That was done through official means. There was a boss of ours who was very passionate, who understood the importance of social media, tried to impress it on us, and not only did that, but also pursued getting verified Twitter handles for those who were considered the faces of the station at that point in time. So that was how I got verified on Twitter. That wasn't something that I personally pursued. Now I have just joined Instagram. I can't remember when I joined now, but one of the interns who worked with me was very particular about me joining Instagram, and she ensured I was there. And after she left, I did not post anything for a long time, until perhaps maybe late last year, sometime towards this year. And I've just been thinking, oh, it's time for me to get verified on Instagram. But I've been asking myself, have I been consistent enough? And have I built such a clout that I would think that I would need a verification on Instagram? I don't know. Maybe we will ask the social media experts, because they also have expertise in these things. But I also know that one of the ways that people ensure that they're able to gain clout, especially when they're doing intellectual stuff, there is no way. It is going to be very, very difficult. Nothing is impossible. I think it's very important to state that, but it's going to be very difficult to build the same sort of following as say an entertainer, because by the very nature of what you both do, or what each one does, you attract a very different kind of crowd, and you attract a very specialized kind of crowd. Anybody can follow music. If you don't have, music is an international, it's a universal language, but not everybody follows law. Not everybody can understand what law is saying. So you by that, you've already narrowed the class of people who will follow you, or who will even understand what it is that you're trying to say. That is on the one hand. But one of the things I have found that works is trying to associate with people who have been able to build clout. So for instance, I would imagine that if you're a lawyer and you want to build clout in the entertainment industry, one of the things you can do is take on issues generated by those who already have clout. So for instance, assuming there is a row, for instance, when Tiwa Savage and her husband broke up, I don't like to interfere in people's marriages, and I don't like to talk about those kinds of issues. But assuming you were to look at, say, I don't know now, when I say divorce issues in Nigeria around celebrities, they both built an empire together, and they were to split assuming you are going to just raise, will I say, a scenario. It doesn't have to be real. I should like a virtual scenario in which, assuming you guys have built your money together, in a circumstance like this, how would you advise a couple to split? Is it advisable for couples who are in the entertainment industry to build their finances together? It could be something that a lawyer can decide that he or she wants to consider. It definitely will draw some attention, I can tell you that. So it's either you begin to associate in some ways with these people, or you find a way to get topics that will interest the people who follow them. If you find that way, the chances that you will continue to build your clout is very high. I can tell you it will not be at the same rate as they are building theirs, but you'll certainly get noticed enough for you to have enough clout for the people who need to verify you or understand why you need verification to, be able to endorse that particular verification. And of course, if you've built clout, and that's why consistency and clout is very important. If you've been able to build this clout, the chances that more and more people will take note, the chances that people will want to, listen to what you have to say will be very high. And if opinion is going to be sought in something, certainly you will certainly be one of those people whose opinion will be sought. Charles.
Oh my God, I've been speaking. I don't think anybody has been hearing me. I'm so sorry. I was speaking on and on and on and on. I did not know my mic was on mute. Oh. Anyways, Maupe, I said thank you very much, and you answered my question. But before you go, I promise I'll not keep you for more than 40 minutes, and I'll try and keep to my word. But before you go, I need you to just say something generally. Law practice, and you've spoken to a lot of lawyers, you speak to virtually everybody. Law practice in Nigeria, compared with law practice in places like America, in the United Kingdom, it's like miles apart, worlds apart. And in those climes, at least some of them, you find out that lawyers aggressively and actively advertise their services, advertise the things they do. They are very, very vocal in the media. You find out that even in some of the countries I've mentioned, that even lawyers participate actively in politics. They fund politics openly and all of that. How do you think that, considering a lot of the restrictions that are in the legal space in Nigeria, which we'll discuss with the panel later on, how do you think that lawyers in Nigeria can effectively play? Now the world is flat, like Thomas Friedman said. It's a global space. Everybody's supposed to be bidding for the same thing and doing the same thing. Now they seem to have more advantage because they can be more visible, they can be aggressively in your face. But here in Nigeria, you can't be as aggressively in people's faces as that. How do you think lawyers in this new normal, in this time of COVID and post-COVID, how do you think lawyers can play in that space and compete favorably?
That's a very tough one to answer, because I do not know. I think that there are already rules. You can tell me that is the situation. I think that there are rules guiding the practice of law in Nigeria. Same for medicine, for instance. Medical doctors are not allowed to advertise. Even for journalism, a broadcast journalist is not allowed to endorse products. I cannot endorse products, no matter how popular I get, if I want to continue in broadcast. And I think that this on level playing field, if you want to call it that, is in many professions. But I want to believe that those safeguards were put in place for a reason. If we now find that there are ways, or that there is, this is now becoming a disadvantage of some sort to us, or preventing us from playing internationally, or it's not giving us as much room, as our counterparts internationally, I think that one of the great ways to do this is through advocacy. And if there's anybody who understands advocacy and knows about how to, raise issues and ensure that those issues get heard, it's lawyers. They always find a way to bring up these issues, discuss them, thrash them, and ensure that they stay within the relevance of the public. Bring them up for debates, for instance. You have the annual bar meetings of lawyers. It's a very big, popular event now, and now you have found a way to ensure that journalists are interested in covering those particular meetings. For instance, Channels Television is always there. We're there for the full period. We have them consistently throughout that period when the program is going on, you found a way to build that cloud. So if it's important to lawyers, I want to think that there's a way they can elevate those discussions, amongst their peers in such a way that it would eventually filter out to the general public and say, why not? It's something, we understand that all of these professions are conservative, and they're conservative for a reason. But we also understand that the times are changing, and if they're shortchanging our lawyers and shortchanging our doctors and maybe shortchanging our journalists, we must find a way to be able to bring them up, discuss them, and say, hey, we've had this law or this rule or this regulation for so long. Isn't it time we reviewed it? So I think that if there's anybody who will know how to solve that problem, no one will know how to solve it better than lawyers themselves. Charles.
Thank you very much, Maupe. I'm excited. You wowed us. I did not expect less. And I want to thank you very much for your time. I want to thank you very much for the wisdom you have shared on the power of media. And there are some questions you have raised whilst not knowing in the course of your presentation that will form the crux of the conversation that the panel will treat. But once again, I want to thank you very, very much. I need to let you go now. And I hope if we have to bring you back again, you will not make it difficult.
I have to say thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I really have to go. I really wanted to stay till the end of this, but I have my daughter cooped up in a room and I don't want her banging the door before I eventually let her loose. So I hope that you'll indulge me, and I wish you a very interesting conversation as the rest of the discussion goes on.
Thank you very much, Maupe. Talk to you later.
All right.
I want to welcome. I'm going to start with Chioma. Chioma, I hope you're there and I hope you're ready for me. Yeah, you did like this, like wow. We're going to get down to this very quick. I'm going to end with Jumade. We have the panelists in the house. I've recognized. Okay, Bridget. Have I recognized Bridget? I'm unmuting all the panelists now so that you can talk. Have I done that for everybody now? So, Kaode Agbedejobi is already off mute. Chioma of the Nigerian lawyer is also off, is not on mute anymore. Bridget Edokwe of Barista NG is not on mute anymore. I'm looking for Larry Fashola. Can you try to say something, Mr. Fashola? I need to find you. Can you just try to say something so that you can come to the front of the screen? I'm still not able to find Mr. Larry Fashola again, but I know he's here, and I'm also looking for Newswire. But I'm going to start with, okay, I see Mr. Larry Fashola now, yes. So I'm looking for Newswire, Gloria Eureka. If you are there, try to say something, and if you're it probably will come up. Okay, so I have all the panelists here now. I suppose I'm going to start with Chioma. I'm going to end with Jumade, because I know that everything they say, by the time we have finished all our jargons, the question is now going to be, does it make sense to us as lawyers? Oh, I've seen Gloria. Gloria, welcome. You were not here when I was on, you went off and back. So I'll come to Gloria. So all my panelists are not on mute anymore. I believe that I have everybody off, every of the panelists mic unmuted already. Please, if you have questions for them, their sessions are like 5 minutes, and it's going to be quite brief. Immediately they are done, then we have questions. You can write your questions and drop them in the chat column and put the name of the person whom you would like to answer that question there. Since Maupe is also off, if you have questions, direct to one of the panelists to answer. Any of them is definitely confident enough to answer it. And this is a lawyer's gathering. You know, Maupe is not a lawyer, about power of media, and she has done great justice to that. So we're going to start with Chioma. Chioma is the founder of the Nigerian Lawyer. Is indeed one of the foremost bloggers or law blogs in Nigeria. You know, someone called me recently and said, oh, make sure your things always go on the Nigerian Lawyer. And I said, well, I know Chioma does a lot of stuff. But then we can always work with Nigerian Lawyer. It's a fantastic platform, and I thank you all for all the things you are doing. Chioma, I want to ask you this question. How exactly can lawyers leverage on social media? Maupe talked about media as a whole. How can lawyers leverage upon the fact that you are not just a lawyer, your blog is now on a website. You are blogging from a website, not from just a free or cheap blog. You transmit your content actively on WhatsApp, so you get to also use WhatsApp a lot. How can lawyers leverage on this particular area? A lawyer yourself and not offend the RPC and all of that. Chama, it's over to you.
House, thank you for having me, and welcome all our viewers and panelists. Well, speaking on how lawyers can leverage on social media, you know, social media is a veritable tool that anybody, whether you're a lawyer or non-lawyer, can make use of and achieve whatever you want to achieve, only if you set a goal. And as for us, the lawyers, it is the importance of social media cannot be overemphasized. Lawyers using social media is a kind of is a crucial aspect of when you want to go into marketing, if you want to market yourself, you want to project yourself to get exposure into into your business, into the legal profession, you certainly need social media. And there are different aspects of social media where you can engage yourself or you might want to employ in order to achieve your goal. Now, it's not all about having social media it's not about having social media, but knowing what you want to do with that social media. For instance, there are most lawyers are not on Twitter, some are on WhatsApp, some on Facebook. Just as I said, it depends on the one you want to go for. Now, for you to project yourself, because we know that social media is a tool that can give your firm a voice and amplify your professional reputation and then to drive your business, you need to have a particular or two or more than 3 social media platforms that can give you that edge. Most lawyers now, okay, let me use, for instance, the MC guy, the MC person, Mr. Leo, who is into comedy. He realized what he wants and the area he's going to boost his area of practice. He chose Instagram. Now, lawyers can go into using Facebook. Lawyers can go into using Twitter. Like mine, when I started my website, I started with Facebook. But because people knew that, okay, this lady, then I didn't even have WhatsApp. But when someone called me and said, okay, send me a number, let me add you to WhatsApp. That was how people began to add me. You just wake up one day and see yourself in several WhatsApp groups. So for a lawyer who really wants to grow into a business, who wants to advertise or promote, meanwhile, before you do any promotion or project yourself, you also have to have recourse to search to RPC, which buys certain kind of advertisement. So for the area of WhatsApp, if you want to use WhatsApp to promote yourself, you should know, number one, you have to set a you have to define what you want to do with that WhatsApp. It's not just creating WhatsApp. You create a WhatsApp, then you define the nature, the things you want to be in that WhatsApp, the content you want people to share there. You know, most people just create WhatsApp for not having it obvious. They just I want to be an admin and they want to create WhatsApp. No, that is not proper. For me, create a WhatsApp if you want to project a business. You make use of your WhatsApp, create it, invite people, even your clients, they can be there. You project, promote what you're doing there. You use your status on WhatsApp to show people that this is what I do. And then you also use, another aspect is having or creating posts, content that are engaging. You just don't come and pop something on WhatsApp, or then you expect things that are people that are not of interest for people to get engaged. No, it's good to write interesting content, fine. But when you post it, always be available there to interact with people who you've sent those things to. You tell them, this is what I'm into. This is my services, you know, projecting your firm. Then the issue of websites. This is another area that most lawyers are lacking in. Almost like 98% of lawyers we have in Nigeria, they don't have WhatsApp. They don't have websites. But they don't know that website is very, very important for you to have a good, hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. If creating a website, most lawyers, as I said, don't have websites. It is advisable that we create a website. Lawyers, in that website, that is where you outline your areas of specialties, the things you do. And then from time to time, like once in a week, you pop out a content, you write something, maybe probably a project that you have handled for a client, or a particular thing that you have done that you want it to go out. You put it there, you let people know, other people, anybody who comes access the website should be able to see all the things you have done, the things you are able to do, and then how you were able to, and how you can offer such services if the need be. Another aspect is that for lawyers to really excel in make use of this leverage on social media handle. So those lawyers, for you to leverage on that social media handle, you also need to create what is it called? A video, something like a video that will let people know that this is what you're into. Creating a short story that will attract people to is another way one can leverage, bring clients, draw new clients, improve on his or her area of business.
Okay.
So now that most lawyers, the challenges that most lawyers have is that if you visit their websites or you check on what they have, you find that they just have only website that is not even functional. The numbers that are there, you won't even be able to contact the person, and even if you contact, is not available. With all this, you might not be able to get clients that are that are in need of your services.
Wow.
And popping up informations on your platform is also another means of improving or catching or getting clients.
True.
For instance, the learning law guy, Onyeka Umahi, he writes his legal tips because he has already set out what he wants, how he wants people, because he has already set out the way he wants people, to attract clients to himself. Because I know how many calls I receive on his behalf. Like they need the services of this. They need the services of.
They need the Nigerian law.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Chema, are you there?
Hello? Yes.
Well, what you said that got me excited, that everybody has been calling you for this guy, and I said I have to come and start writing for Nigerian lawyer too.
No.
The time is up though, so we just round up in like 10 seconds.
Because he already has a platform, and then he wants it to be projected. That is why people always call him. But when you don't have a platform for it, your Instagram or your Twitter handle, you don't have any interesting things there that will bring people, or that will initiate a positive conversation or comment. People might think that you have nothing to offer. So the thing is that for everybody, for every lawyer, it's advisable you get a functional website, and then you make use of the social medias that handles that you know that will be of importance to you.
Thank you very, very much, Emma. That was deep. A lot of things said in bits and pieces. I'm sure the question time will take you up on that. I'm tempted to bring in Newswire. That is Madam Gloria Ireka, because all the things you were saying, you were just talking about content, and I want to take her up on content. But before I bring her up, let me have Barrister NG. That's Madam Bridget Edokwe. Can see her here as well, because she's also talking about an aspect of leveraging on social media, and she's looking at a completely different aspect as regards blogging and all the other less formal sides of social media. So immediately after her, we'll have Madam Gloria talk to us about, so how do we build this content? But for now, Barrister NG is another fantastic blog for lawyers in Nigeria, regular posts back to back. Now you are seeing the faces behind all those plenty links we get. Barrister NG, Madam Bridget Edokwe, ESQ. Please, the floor is yours for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Charles.
Yes, ma'am.
It's my pleasure to be here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. My pleasure to be here.
Yes, you're welcome.
The social media issue and leveraging us on it cannot be overemphasized. Social media is a small story. As lawyers, going to court, preparing for a case, traveling. Take, for instance, you have a case. Basically, I'm based in Abuja. Then I have a case in Lagos. I prepare for the matter. I move here. I bought the etiquette, the cost effects, the expenses. I get to Lagos. I lodge myself in a hotel. Then on the morning of the matter, I proceed to court, only to get to court and hear that the case will not go on. We have to go back. When you look at the cost effect, the risk that the lawyer goes through to get this done, I can assure you that every lawyer in this platform now, no lawyer here will say that he or she has not experienced what I just said, the scenario I just narrated. No practicing lawyer will say that he or she has not experienced this. How can the social media come in here now? This whole stress ordinarily would have been solved by a click or a beep on your phone, or by just going to Twitter and checking out on the official website of the court, if these are available. The unfortunate event is that the judicial system has not prepared themselves to key into this. That's the unfortunate thing. Because if not for COVID-19, that took us by surprise, and we are running helter-skelter, we wouldn't be here today. The whole essence of being here is because of the impact COVID-19 has brought upon us. I dare to say that in as much as COVID-19 is a very bad thing to say, but to the legal community, it's a wake-up call. Because now you see judges, you see the CJ, and everybody's making effort to move what ordinarily should have come in a smooth sequence. Now, how will a lawyer leverage on this? If the judicial system will key in to blogs, take for instance, if a court has an official page where information are disseminated, say cost list, a lawyer, even if you are in Enugu, or in your, wherever you are in Nigeria, it can afford you the opportunity of taking that, checking up the cost list and knowing the costs that will sit where you have your matters. Rather than wasting the fund, risk that is involved, getting to the destination, because you as a lawyer, you are not meant to be to practice only where you are. So you can afford to get there only when it is necessary. Take for instance, the Facebook that Unini earlier mentioned. If courts can leverage on it, Twitter is there, these are the official ones, or the blogs. There can be an understanding between the legal blogs, legal news blogs. There can be an understanding. These are, when messages, lawyers all over Nigeria, they depend on most blogs for their daily information. And I can assure you that if there's an arrangement, it will go a long way to help lawyers, because whatever information a lawyer needs, he knows already where to get it concerning any court. By this, it reduces stress. A lawyer can afford, take another instance, information published on blogs. It's after years, a lawyer can still go there and take it down and make use of it. The era of only relying on documents, we need to wake up. We are far behind.
Wow.
We are way far behind. And that is why it's kind of being difficult for the adjustment. Where others are without stress, we are kicking ourselves to see if we can be in it. But there's an adage that says whenever you wake up is your morning. All we need to do now is to put the relevant things in order.
True.
I remember the agitation going on with respect to whether it is constitutional or otherwise. There's another aspect. But if these are put in place, I can tell you that law practice will be more fun. You can imagine how it will be when you want to serve process, you know the hurdles you go through, when the emails are there. These are options, if made available to lawyers, if keyed into the way it should be.
Wow.
It will just be a matter of
Thank you.
the stress will be minimized. Litigation, to be honest, in Nigeria is stress. But when you look at you get to court. I've had that experience on many occasions. You get to court and then you're told that the service was not effected. What do? You pack your books and go back. But information can be communicated to you with respect to the daily happenings in court. All that the lawyer needs in Nigeria is to be comfortable doing his work as a lawyer. Then blocks will come in here. If the judicial system will key into it, knowing that the lawyers will definitely get this information is an avenue to reduce stress for them. The numerous deaths we witness on a daily basis, all this will reduce. Because at times it's all about stress. Now, when you have to fly all the way from Enugu to Abuja, and you get to court and you find out it's been adjourned, the court is not sitting on one flimsy excuse or the other. When a lawyer ordinarily, comfortably would have been in your office, and then you get that information.
You know, this has
information
been
is
something that has been on the front burner back to back every now and then. We've been talking about it. And you know, we still had this kind of conversation last week with Mr. Lucas when we said that the judiciary is growing at a very slow pace compared to what the world.
That is the problem.
Thank you very much. Let me call you Madam Barrister Ng for that passionate presentation. I call it passionate because I could hear it from your heart. I could see the irritation. I could see the pain. And I share in it too. I share in it. Thank you very, very much. We'll come back to you when it's time for question and answers. Now we go to Mademoiselle Newswire. You know, she's not just a blogger. She also does news on the website like Unini. And then she has even gone another level forward. She still does the hard copy back to back. Newswire is everywhere, and all of us must have seen a copy of the Newswire. What we might have not known or seen is the face of the visionary of Newswire. Welcome very much and very sincerely, Madam Gloria Eureka. Now, they've said so many, you said a lot, Bridget said a lot of things. How do you build your content? How do you write all those articles in the magazine, on your blog, on your website, and how do you keep up with it? How are lawyers supposed to build content to maintain and to leverage on the media? The floor is yours for the next 5 minutes, Madam Gloria.
Okay, Charles, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Bridget and Unini, they've said so much about social media, and now you want me to talk more about the content creation, which is what throws more light to whatever it is that we have out there, especially when blogging and when we want to do our articles. So content creation to me is the contribution of information to any media, and most especially to a digital media for the end user, for those that's the followers, those that would read it. And when creating content to our audience, the content must be something that we can express it in different ways. And it must be through the media, it must be through the medium. Maybe it could be through our writings, it could be through various arts. People could also create content through arts. It could be through speech, what you say. Then again, it could be through self-expression, distribution, publication, and mostly content is also part of a marketing. You have to market yourself through the content you create out there. Then typical form of content creation, as I see it, is maintaining and updating your website, blogging, then article writing. Like in Newswire, why I'm saying article writing and photography. In Newswire, most times when we cover events, we speak with pictures on our blog because most people, somehow lawyers love to read, I know that. But whenever we want to push out anything out there, we always want to also use pictures to speak, to create that content, to drive our audience, our followers. Because as they're reading and they're seeing the pictures, maybe the panelists, the speakers, those that were at the event, it will also help the content to be robust, to be something that they'll be excited to read. So we could express it in different ways. It could even be through online commentary, then through videography, and also social media accounts, editing and distribution of digital media. So all this in content creation, lawyers have not really maximized that potential in terms of using their content, what they have, to reach out or to market themselves. Yeah, we are not allowed to advertise, I know that. But you could do it through your article. You could sell yourself through your article. I think I am going to describe content creation as the creation of the material people contribute to the online world, as in what you push out there. It goes a long way to tell who you are. It sells you as a person, because your content is what people read. When they read it, they know what is in you, what you can give out, what your worth is. But we lawyers, I'm not saying that lawyers are good. We are very good when it comes to going to court and arguing, writing, talking. But to market what we have is a problem. We've not gotten there. And if you look at it, if you are not able to market what you have, if you are not able to showcase the potential in you through your content creation, it's not going to be that easy for your, let's say, for your followers, for us that are online, and for your clients, for those that are into practice, to be able to know what you are worth, or what, as in where they can reach out. If this person is good enough, who to reach out to. Then a content creating style strategy is a roadmap only that tells what we can do, what we can create. In creating content, we can, just like I said, we can do it in such a way that we are able to market what is in us. We can able to market our product. We can able to market, as a lawyer, you can able to market yourself, not by showing your firm, but by your writings, your article, just the way people send their article, as in, Charles, you do that sometimes, you send your article. You are trying to market yourself through the content that you have. So our content creation, we have to do a lot to also brush up there to make things better for lawyers, in the sense that to be able to market ourselves to the world to see.
Wow.
In terms of each part of your content creation has its own unique details that you won't want to miss. But at the time, you must have processes. Processes in the sense that your content should be rich. Your content should be real. It should be you. Your content shouldn't be like wanting to be another person. Just be you. Make sure that whatever you are selling out there is something that your clients would definitely want to be part of.
I want to stop you, but I want to stop you on one note, man. You said something about your content should be you. That is...
No, I can't hear you, Charles.
You said your content should be you.
Your content should be you.
What does that mean? Just before maybe you can round up on that.
No, sorry, come again.
You said when you were giving your message, your presentation now, you said your content should be you. I didn't get that. It sounds really deep, and I want you to round up with that.
Okay, Charles, what I mean by your content should be you is that it should be real.
Okay. Okay.
It should be your style. It should be what you are. You should be what you know, not someone else's content, not someone else's idea.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Madam Newswire. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. You can see that the thing is gaining momentum. From Unini of
I am not John, Charles, can you just briefly round up, please?
Okay, go ahead. Just do that like in 1 minute.
You don't need time for me anymore.
Say again?
I said, can you give me a little bit of time? Let me just round up, please.
Okay, take 1 more minute. Take 1 more minute and then.
Okay, so quickly, before you start creating content, you need to know why you are creating that content. This is where we do a deep dive with clients into the inner workings of our business, identifying all areas that could be beneficial to us. The most common areas needing content creation could include, number one, customer education, client training, list building offers, income stream diversification, information products, marketing and blogging efforts, speaking and presentations, then employee trainings. Those are the ways we can also sell our content. Then finally, because I don't have time, in a new world, we're in a new world right now. In a new world in the sense that because of the situation, the pandemic, what we are in right now, we'd have to really think outside the box in ways of selling ourselves and in ways of creating content that are real, that definitely when people read, it won't be like fake news. Let me not put it that way, because most times some contents are fake. It doesn't really sell well to open. By the time people find out that you have contents that are not real, that are not you, that they can't identify with, definitely you are not selling yourself well out there. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Madam Newswire, because I want to call you by those blog names, because that's what everybody here seems to know you as. Permit me to make welcome, before I bring the next speaker is going to be Oga of the Legal Nigeria. You know, we are building it from leveraging on social media, Unini, and then Bridget took it up, and then now Laura is talking about content creation, and then Legal Nigeria is going to tell us what are those tools we can use to generate content very easily. What are those technologically available tools that we can use? But just before he takes the floor, let me welcome most especially the Learned Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Olukayode Eniton. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have the Secretary of the NBA Ikeja branch.
Thank you for the program.
Leonard Silk, you're very welcome. And we also have the General Secretary, the Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association Ikeja branch is also here with us. Mr. Olukwewu, I see you also. Thank you for making out time to be here. And Francis, all the way from Canada, thank you also for joining us. We have Mr. Dan Okoye and a whole team of and we also have we have a large house here. Mr. Dan Okoye is not alone. I think there are 3 people there. I've unmuted your mic. You want to say hello very quickly?
Hello.
Yes.
Victor. Hello, everyone. We're listening to you.
I see Mr. Dan.
It's good.
As well. Those are very senior members of the bar. One thing I can tell you for free is that the era that information is scarce has gone. People are now hungry for information. And one of the things we are hoping to do and achieve with this session is to transform how lawyers think, build a new crop of lawyers, and ensure that the law business or the law practice as it is not just one kind of a sham profession where anybody that is suffering thinks, lawyer, that's the definition for lawyers. We are looking at building a number of lawyers who are well informed, who are doing very well, and change the whole perception that is beginning to be formed around lawyers. Kayode Agbedejobi is the founder of Legal Nigeria, another fantastic and fast-growing blogger in Nigeria. And I can trust that it's going to take over the African space. Kayode, you are very techy in the way you do your thing. Tell us the tools you use and tell us how lawyers can use these tools to maximize their law practice in the new normal. The floor is yours, Kayode.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Once again, my name is Kayode Agbedejobi, the founder of Legal Nigeria. And the previous panelist, Gloria for News Wire, she did a little bit of my job for me by defining what content is, because I'll be talking about creation of content. So while she was talking about content, I did a little bit of research online, and I couldn't really get a precise definition of legal content. So I, put 1 and 2 together and then decided to come up with a very brief definition of what legal content should be from my own perspective, though you can quote me, you can screenshot or whatever. So I believe that legal content should be defined as the words and expression used to communicate with the legal audience. So the legal audience could be through a blog, through the courtroom, or through the social media, because we have lawyers on the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So you could get to reach your legal audience through any of these means. So that takes me to the question you asked. The tools, the techie tools, a content creator should have or should be able to use in the creation of legal content. I think everybody should be familiar with MS Word, that is Microsoft Word. That should be the first thing that should come to anybody's mind. And for you to be able to use MS Word, you must either have a mobile phone or a laptop. So that also says that you should have a mobile phone and a laptop to be able to use most of these tools. Aside using biro and paper, which most of our elderly ones used to use in the past, things have changed. Now is the time for tech. And COVID-19 is even proving it more for us that this is the time when tech is actually going to take the space of most of the professions in the world. So aside that, there is also something called mailbox providers. These are providers like Yahoo Mail, Google Mail, and all of that. We use most of them. The NBA National actually uses it to communicate with us, and it's actually used, everywhere. The next also is word or grammar editors. In the creation of content, in the typing of words, typing of sentences, typing of paragraphs, you just can't boast that you know it all. That is why it's always very important for you to, pass whatever you do to someone else to look through, to proofread before you now finally send it to the person that needs it the most, which will be your audience or your clients. So if you can't find someone, that will proofread for you, there are apps, there are softwares that you can use, such as Grammarly. Most of us that check YouTube, to download songs, there is this particular advert that comes up more often than not. Grammarly, use Grammarly, Grammarly. What it does is, by the time you are through with whatever you're writing, probably through a mail, there is an extension on your Google Chrome. If you can install it. So what you just have to do is to click that Grammarly, and then it reads through for you. If there has been a mistake, it will highlight for you, and then request whether the cloud storage like Google Drive, OneDrive, and a lot of others. You also have SMS text messenger. You don't even need to have a smartphone for you to be able to use SMS text messenger. Now, the reason I'm bringing SMS text messenger up is because for adventure, you are not able to make use of your MS Word or have access to Google Drive. But you need to type something very, very crucially, just your, text message to type, and then probably when you have the chance to, put it on a MS Word, then you do that and then highlight, magnify and all of that, then everything is perfect. So you don't necessarily have to rely on one source for your creation of content. Like I said, you can use, the tools I mentioned, that is Microsoft Word, Mailbox Provider, grammar editors, cloud storage, text message, SMS text messenger. Then another thing you can do, if God forbid all of these things working in your favor, you can use the social media. On your Facebook messenger, you could just go to, probably a family friend or a pad or anything that can, finalize it for you. You do that. I know my time is running up, but I actually have a list of other things I want to discuss about. So importantly, you also need dictionary. You don't need to be told. If you are a content developer, you need the dictionary, encyclopedia. It could be software, it could be hard copy. Okay, let me give you an example. Recently, I needed to, forward a post from a particular WhatsApp group. And believing that the person that posted it actually did a very good job, I just forwarded without reading. And then the person in his post put the word commemorate instead of commiserate. I didn't realize that until someone drew my attention. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine? As in, you need, in case you are not sure of certain words, you still need. Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said you were commemorating instead of commiserating.
Anyway, you need the dictionary. Exactly, that is it. So in instances like that, whereby some words actually appear big for us to understand or to remember if this word is applicable, the dictionary is your friend. Encyclopedia is also your friend. You can make use of these devices just to be very sure. And please permit me to round up, because that is not all about content creation. Now, that is for word creation. Yeah, very fast, in 1 minute. Let me just highlight some other tools one can use in the posting or creation of content. Now I'm going to focus on graphics. For graphics, you can use Canva, you can use Corel Draw, you can use Poster My Wall. This is a website. You can use Pablo, you can use Sketch, you can use Pixar, you can use InShot.
You'll not be able to pick them as they are saying them now. It's too much.
Very well, no problem, no problem. no problem. Let me just quickly lay emphasis on something. PixArt and InShot that I mentioned. So yesterday, Legal Nigeria had a live chat with, and we decided on that very, very shortly, very, very quickly. Within 10 minutes, we were like, okay, let's go live and do certain things. And I needed to do graphics. I couldn't wait for my professional graphics designer to, come up with something for me to use. I had to use Canva, InShot, and PixArt. And by the time I was done, it was looking like a very well done job. Now, lastly, because we are lawyers here, I'll just mention 4 tools lawyers need to have, if not at their fingertips or around them. We need the Black's Law Dictionary. We need law reports. Law reports could be the physical one or the software, like a Law Pavilion. And luckily enough, we had Mr. Okpeolugasa last week, the CEO of Law Pavilion. We have, Google Scholar Online. We have the internet search engine. We have a lot of things that you can use as tools in creation of content. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for having me.
You are going to do something. That was amazing. You are going to do something. Whilst I will advise everybody to watch this video again, to be able to gain some strength and wisdom from the things you have shared, I would appeal to you to please put up something. It may just be like a note, maybe a one-page. It doesn't have to be a major slide. And then we can circulate it to all the people that have attended this so that they can look at those tools listed there. Because a lot of people don't even know that tools can make their media journey very easy. And then they sweat a lot to make a lot of things happen. So I want to beg of you to do that so that later this evening or tomorrow, we can send something to people, because the idea is that every information we share here, we expect people to use them. And then if we can build or be the pioneers of the new crop of lawyers that are rising, then our vision for this session would have been met, to build a crop of a different breed of lawyers and law firms that will begin to set the pace, become the role model for the new generation of lawyers and law firms that are already arising. Now we are gaining momentum from leveraging on social media to content creation to the tools for creating content. And now we are getting to a very interesting part of it. There's a question I always ask: what do we gain from all of these things? It was an artist that sang that song. What do we gain? After all this media noise, what do we gain from it? And that is what brings me to Mr. Larry Fashola. He's going to be talking about exactly how lawyers are supposed to convert all these stories that we started with Maupe, the things Maupe said, Unini said, Bridget said, Gloria said, Kaoli said. How do all of these things, how does it end up becoming money for lawyers? Because we're all interested in that, I'm sure. So Mr. Larry Fashola is an amazing lawyer. An amazing lawyer. He has proven himself to be different. He is the visionary behind the biggest and the most prestigious law awards in Nigeria, the ESQ Awards. And he's also the brain behind and the founder of the ESQ Practical Lawyers Academy, and a whole lot of other things. They also have their ESQ magazine, ESQ blog. He's doing a lot of things, Professor Otobi said something about me. He said, I have a small size with big engine. I thought he was trying to talk about Mr. Larry Fashola. It was not me, actually. Mr. Larry Fashola, the floor is yours for the next 5 minutes. Please, let's know how to make money from all of these things. Monetization of the media for lawyers.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're
welcome. Well, I'm talking about how to monetize your media visibility. I'm going to, because I have just 5 minutes, I'll dwell more on social media for today, and then maybe reflect on the blogs and other areas of social media in passing. So now, for the biggest problem that I see that lawyers meet generally is, as lawyers, you are not media practitioners. They take, especially social media, they take it as being another marketing platform. And something, they liken it to the traditional marketing platforms. This is the biggest problem that lawyers make. Social media, as it were, is not a marketing platform. Yeah. So while traditional marketing involves, a brief statement about you offering legal services, and then it ends that way, the prospective clients will either give you a call or doesn't after all. This is quite different from social media, as it were. Social media is like a lawyer speaking to a prospective client, who is silent. So a lawyer is basically speaking to a client who is not saying anything, but is just, enjoying what the lawyer is saying. So social media is a conversation, and it's different from a billboard or a TV. There are 3 basic drivers to generating lead. It's only when a lawyer has been able to communicate and generate leads that the leads can be converted in a way that it can translate to lawyers as it is for other professionals. Number one is that they have to be, the audience must be familiar with the lawyer. So social media is not going to replace your human skills, as it were. The audience who is reading your content or following up with you on social media must be familiar with you. They must know you. They must know what you can do. So Maupe was talking about my Leonard Egbon Adegoro, I say, and talking about what he's passionate about, which is human rights or social justice or, you know, anti-corruption and all that. You know, people are already familiar. People who follow Egbon Adegoro on social media are familiar with his views, with what he represents. They are probably his classmates from school, his friends in his social circle, his members in church, friends of his friends, and all that. There are people who are likely to follow him on social media and want to do something that will generate income for him on social media. Somebody who never knows him on social media is not necessarily going to want to, you know, generate business with him on social media because he has never known him, you know, because there are lots of people on social media as it were. So you have to build your reputation through a personal advertisement. So there has to be personal connection and familiarity, which will breed comfort between you and the person who is following you on social media. Number two is authority. You must be perceived as someone who knows that area of law, who knows what he's saying. So you have to establish yourself as an authority in that area for people who follow you to want to, you know, convert to lead. You know, so it's not just about you just being on social media, wearing nice suits, or, you know, having a colorful page. No matter how well designed, designing your page matters, but no matter how well designed, if you are not someone that they perceive to know the road, nobody will follow you to that destination. Number three is referral. So you find on some people's LinkedIn pages, you find a lot of recommendations. You know, some people go through all that. So referral matters in social media. Who has done something with you before? What are they saying about you? Do they trust you with what they've done with you before? So referral recommendations is a big thing for lawyers who want to monetize their presence on, you know, media platforms, including social media. So I then penciled down 5 ways law firms or lawyers can generate more leads and make more money using social media. First one is, you know, in this period, you would have seen, if you study some of the major law firms in Nigeria, you see, they keep talking persistently about, you know, how COVID-19 will affect different areas of businesses. Be it, okay, employer issues, there are issues of force majeure in contracts, okay, some people have signed contracts that have been, you know, and then they were supposed to deliver on some specific terms. Now with this COVID-19 and there's lockdown, they couldn't, deliver. So there is going to be issues of how do they ensure that they are not going to be exposed, unnecessarily exposed. So they're talking about force majeure. They're talking about the Finance Act. They're talking about different things. If you have been following all the, pages of most of the law firms, I said they're talking about it to show their authority in that area. So you have to share pertinent information that will relate to your clients, not as a lawyer with your jargons, with your legal jargons, but you have to relate to the clients in a way that, okay, my clients, I care about you, but do you think this is what federal government is doing? How will this thing affect you? Do you think it will not affect you? These are ways it can affect you. And these are ways you can escape, these sort of liabilities. So, and then at the end of the day, the clients are not going to do it themselves. When they now need an advice, they feel emotionally attached to you. It's point of, mind recall. They then remember you that, oh, I remember so person was talking about this thing. He knows it. So when people have human rights cases, they will call Adegorua because he's always talking about it.
Thank you.
So they want to talk about, look for him. Yes, you have to identify and engage with key influencers in your field. Ajiboye has been doing this through this platform for a while now. I've seen lots of very respected, learned minds on this platform, and that's a way of keying into engaging with influencers. So one way or the other, people who have had so much respect for candidate Johnson and they've known what he stood for, and they see that Ajiboye, the way they related, he was part of his show and all that, they feel a way of trust. There's a level of trust they have for candidate Johnson to trust Ajiboye. He must be a trustworthy person. Let me try him as well. That's another area. Then you have to share information about your firm and the individual attorneys. Nobody wants to give briefs to a ghost. So you are a lawyer who run your business in your car, and you're expecting a company to give you something really strategic.
The lawyer running business in the car. You're in the car.
You're in a car.
Yes. Mr. Ivo, you caught me in my car because I couldn't run into my office. So, but basically, you should be able to show that you have that capacity. You see, in many of the bids that come out from government departments or from companies, when they are releasing the bid for lawyers to apply, for a particular job and all that, they want to see, do you have a team? Do you have a team that you work with, or you are a one-man show? If we give you a brief that will involve, synergies or aggregation of a lot of skills, where do you get these skills? And they want to keep everything in their small office. So you find that a law firm wants to have commercial law practice, litigation, they want to have IP, have energy, have all these teams in the law firms. And then when they are talking, they say, our firm is an aggregation of over 80 years of experience. It's not 80 years of Benga Oyebode. It's 2 years of Lere plus 3 years of Adejumade plus 1 year of Ajiboye combined together. It's from 80 years. So that synergy, they want to see it, and that is what, so your clients will want to see about your firm and the individual attorneys. Then you have to connect with your peers.
Thank you very much.
You have to connect with your peers. Is my time up?
It has long been up.
Oh, wow. Okay, last one I'll just say is you have to promote events like Ajiboye is doing now. So promote events that relates to your area of competence. And these are things that will generate into, income subsequently for you. Let me say that for those who understand how social media works and how media works, is the next thing. Before now, what lawyers do generally is they fly all over the world, going for big conferences, to be able to generate business, exchange cards, meet contacts. COVID-19 has changed all that. So for a long time, we are going to be glued to our system. There are virtual conferences everywhere. NBA conference is going to be a virtual conference. SBL is going to be a virtual conference. IBA, if it ever happens this year, might likely be a virtual conference. So we have to key into all these technologies, and we have to learn how to use them effectively.
Thank you very much.
And it will lead to profit. Thank you.
Mr. Larry Fashola, that has been awesome. And I do hope it has been what your time so far. We've continued to gather the momentum. I've sent questions to some speakers. So you may need to check your chat, private chat for the panelists. I've taken some questions that participants have asked. This looks like it's going to be our longest ever interactive session, but we will have to still work with time. I'll take the last person now because that is where all these things all ends. Lawyers are restricted. We have the rules of professional conduct that guides how we work and what we do. And then we literally cannot go outside those rules. We must stay in line with those rules. Actually, a lot of people don't do anything because they are afraid that the rules of professional conduct will hold them back. But how true is this? And that's why I'm going to ask the founder of Legal Niger, who is Adedumade Onibokun. He's going to tell us about lawyers and RPC. What's the limit? How far can we go and what? So I'd like Dumade to do it very briefly so that we'll spend one minute on the questions and latest 10 minutes to 6 or maximum 5 minutes we can all be out of here. So, Made, please keep 5 minutes and tell us exactly how does all of these things affect each other.
All right. I'd like to say a very big thank you to the Penthouse and to you too, Charles, as well, for having me. And also, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the speakers who have come before me, because literally they've done an excellent job of educating us on social media and the benefits and how we can use them to, should I say, better legal practice. Now, I understand my question relates to professional ethics and as it relates to social media. The first thing I'd just like to say is that all lawyers know and over again how prim and proper as examples. For one, we all know about the defamation laws, right, in Nigeria. The truth is everybody has freedom of speech according to the Constitution, but we also heard that is where your rights end or where your rights terminate, that the rights of another person begins. So you have the right to speech, but of course you cannot just say anything, right? You have to be sure that whatever you say does not breach the right of the next person. Stress that issue. I don't know if many of us are familiar with the Criminal Code Act, especially Section 373, which talks about defamation and also talks about the penalty for defamation. Another one is Section 24 of the Cybercrimes Act, which also gives a penalty for defamation. In fact, it says that you can get up to 3 years imprisonment or be fined up to 7 million naira, right, if you're found guilty for defaming someone under the Cybercrimes Act. Now, rules of professional conduct also talk about professional ethics for lawyers. For instance, we have Rule 26, which talks about keeping the confidence of a client. So I cannot have a client and now go and spill all their information on social media. Secondly, we also know about other provisions, especially those that talks about advertising. We are to ensure that we do not breach any of these rules. But in order not to make it so technical and just make it as simple as possible, that's why I started with the first line, which that we must remain prim and proper even on social media. And it is not just about what we say to our professional handles. For instance, I know that many law firms have the law firm, right? What you will call accounts, depending on the social media platform that you are on. And also they have individual handles for the individual lawyers. Now, it is very important for lawyers to know that the fact that you're on social media, you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, doesn't mean you can just say anything, because your clients are watching you, your friends are also paying attention to what you write. For instance, now, personally, I have a number of clients who follow me on social media. But one thing I realize is they don't engage me on social media. They don't tweet at me. They don't talk to me. They don't comment on any of my posts, but they are there. And when I meet them in person, they strike up a personal conversation with me and tell me, oh, I saw what you wrote on this topic about 2 days ago. Or I saw what you wrote on that topic about a week ago. And even some have come to me to tell me, I saw a picture that you liked. So, and I was wondering, I never knew that people were paying much attention to my online activity. So as lawyers, aside from breaching the rules of professional conduct, you must remain prim and proper even as a personality on social media. So for instance, many people who are familiar with Twitter might understand that Twitter is, how should I put this? People on Twitter are very quick to react. So when you say something, right, it is not uncommon for someone to just give it back to you, no matter what you say. So what do you say if someone insults you on Twitter? For instance, you make a comment innocently stating your opinion on a subject, but because the person disagrees with you, the person decides to engage you in, should I say, in an offensive way. Now, this is beyond your control. You cannot gauge what people are going to say, and you cannot control what they say. But what if someone insults you and they call you names? I won't like to use any of those words, but I've been in such situations before, and they call you names or they insult you. What do? And of course, I'm sure many of us know this thing about bass bulls. It's a, should I call it a slang that we use? Bass bulls means like an eye for an eye. When someone gives you hot, you give it back to the person hot. But as a lawyer, should you really be involved in that kind of thing? So if someone tells me, oh, your opinion is totally wrong, or opinion stems from someone who has not given proper thought to what they said, or if someone goes to say, you know what, please permit me to use this word, but if someone says, you know, I think what you said is very stupid, obviously you did not give it thought, and if they go out and embarrass you that way, what do? Do you respond as well and say, oh, you're stupid as well? No, as a law, I should not be seen to do that. I know some people feel, oh, it's the in thing, right, to give people back in the same coin in which they give to you. But I'd suggest to lawyers, right, that you find a very skillful way of engaging people so that, one, you are not seen as offensive. Because I said there are two ways to this thing, right? There's one, the professional rules, which you do not want to breach, and there's also the personal conduct for yourself. So I'll just give you a typical example. So one day I posted an opinion on Twitter, right? And in my Twitter picture, I am wearing a suit and a tie, right? And the person says, people where they wear suits, no get sense. And they were directly talking about my tweets because they mentioned me and they responded to my. And what did I say? I could have chosen to insult the person as well and say, you said no get sense, or you said this and that. But no, what I just responded to the person was, I said, just so you know, that suit that I wore in that picture is very expensive. So that's an expensive form of stupid. I turned it into a joke, right? And eventually, after engaging in 2 or 3 tweets with me, the person apologized at the end of the tweet and said, you know what, I'm sorry. I did not really pay attention to what you said. I apologize. Now, if I had responded the way the person had responded to me, I also would like to be seen in that light. So in order not to take too much time, I'm just going to round up with the same sentence that I started with. Professional ethics for lawyers on social media is in 2 ways. The first is the rules of professional conduct. You don't want to breach that, of course. You cannot advertise. A lot of the speakers before me have mentioned a lot about that, so I will not really go into that. But I rather focus on, one, your personal way of engaging people. Social media is a place for engagement, but you always have to engage in a prim and proper way. That's how I like to end.
Round up with, rather than this, is just, I sent a question to you privately, and I want you to round up on that question so that I can have all the other panelists take their questions and we can close up. I already sent a question to you that someone—
Yes, if you could just kindly repeat that question. If you just kindly repeat it.
Is not a form of advertisement for lawyers, and exactly how do this play out together? So if you can do that answer for me in 20 seconds, I'll be very happy.
May I just humbly ask that you repeat that question so I can hear you one last time very clearly?
RPC, advertisement, and this media thing we are talking about. Lawyers leveraging on media without crossing the rules of professional conduct as regards advertisement.
Yes, so in that line, I'm just going to use one word, and that word is called value. So when you engage on social media, right, you're not allowed to advertise. What is an advertisement? An advertisement is saying, look at me, I am this, I am that, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, use my services. That is advertisement, and that is wrong. That is an express breach of the rules of professional conduct. But when you create value, how do you create value? You educate people through your content. A lot of speakers before me have spoken about content creation and how to engage. So you use your content to educate people on a certain area. For instance, if your practice is based on, should I say, corporate commercial law, right? then you want to use your content to tell people more about their companies, tell people more about corporate commercial agreements, tell people more about documentation, tell people more about compliance, right? So you engage, you teach them these things. By teaching them, they already know you're an expert in that field, right? And when they follow you for a long period of time, they regard you as an expert in that field. But when you advertise, then that's totally wrong. So the key word is value. Just create value with your content. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dumade. So I think I sent a question to Choma. Choma, are you still there? Can you take the question in like 20 seconds if you are still there, Choma? Unini? I also sent a question to, there was a question from one of the participants, and I sent it to Madam Gloria, Newswire. Have you seen it in your private chat? There was a question I sent to you. Are you there? And then I sent the question again to Madam Bridget as well. Did you see it? So whilst they're going through those questions, I would like to say this very quickly. This has been an amazing time, longer than I thought, and I'm anxious to really shut this down. I really don't need us to go and do other things. I thank you all for coming. And if you have missed the beginning, maybe you joined in between, there's a link that has already been shared. You can click on that link, go to YouTube, watch the full video. It also was streamed live on Facebook. Already I can see that it has had about 300 on Facebook already. So you can always take your time to watch on YouTube or to watch on Facebook after now. And like I always advise for those of us that are interested in regular conversations like this, please click the link and join the Law as a Business group. Every now and then we try to have conversations together, share thoughts. Some people have been able to seal business deals there. It's only for lawyers. And then conversations go on every now and then on those Law as a Business group. The link is there, the WhatsApp link is there. Click to join the link, and then regularly we can share ideas and we can always have a collaboration. Like I said, we are building a completely new breed of lawyers and law firms. But let's round up. Chema, are you there now? I can't see you. I want to be sure you are there, and I want to be sure you have seen the question. If you have not seen it, I may have to pass. Gloria is around. Okay, Gloria, I've seen the question. Do you want to take the answer now very quickly in 30 seconds, please? Please go ahead, Gloria. Hello? Are you there? Hello? I can see that Gloria is struggling to join us, and I don't want us to take a lot of time in this. But let me ask this straight question, because somebody asked this question, and I don't want the question to go unanswered. Dumade, are you there? Dumade, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I can hear you.
In a new normal where digitalization is no longer a luxury, what practice areas of law will be relevant in this COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 era?
So I want to believe that the question is what area of law will be most important at this time?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't want to believe that because of COVID, some areas of law are going to be jettisoned. No, I think every area of law is still very important because there are still people who need solutions in that particular area, COVID or no COVID. So every area of law is still important as far as I'm concerned. The only thing with areas of law in Nigeria is we just have a few that a lot of people are trying to squeeze themselves into. So we need to expand that. But with regards to what we have, like for instance now, family law is still important. For instance, during the COVID time as well, that's still important. They need to know. Family law also includes issues of adoption. People need to know that as well. Of course, corporate law is still important, criminal law is still important, and even civil law is still important. So I don't want to believe like I said, I don't want to be there's a particular area of law that should be jettisoned. I believe everything is still as important as it was, even before. I hope that answers the question. Did that answer the question?
Yes, yes,
Charles.
yes. You already did justice to that question. I think it's on this note that I want us to bring this to an end. I'm not sure I was able to get back to Choma and Gloria, and I don't want to. Who is that?
I'm here.
Okay, Peter, did you get the question?
Yes. Can you read it out, please?
Say that again.
Can you read it out?
Okay, you did not get the question directly. You can read it out. I think I forwarded the question to you. So someone said
what
something.
I can see here is
it is clear that lawyers in the media form a significant segment of the Nigerian bar, and they have a powerful role in disseminating information. What I want to know is what step are these lawyers taking in formulating a code of conduct so that this power of shaping and disseminating information is not abused, particularly in this election year of the NBA. Did you get that?
Oh, what I can see here is whether WhatsApp group of lawyers who regularly share ideas on law as a business. That's what I can see here now.
No, I just read the question.
Can you hear me?
Read the question.
No, I opened the one you sent to me now.
No, just listen to this
Hello?
one. Listen
all right.
to the question, yes. It is clear that, so the person is asking, what steps are bloggers and all the people that handle the media for law, what steps are they taking so far to ensure that it is not diluted and the information that are spread are still intact? That's basically it.
The steps, can you please come again? The steps the bloggers are taking?
Yes.
Hello?
There's a lot of information going about, especially around NBA elections. How do we ensure that they are able to shape these informations?
It's very simple. The information that is coming out from the Nigerian Bar Association has its own platform that the information come out from. So if you're talking about how it can be shaped, the information, once it's coming out from the source, which we know, like now, you're taking information from official page of the Nigerian Bar Association. You can't term such to be fake information. Whatever you get there is real. We know the original places or sites to get your information with respect to NBA, and people that equally disseminate such information, which you know that even if there are places that you can go and verify the information and it will still be the same.
Okay.
So shaping the information, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
So shaping the information is not, the information are not coming it's not from a source, a verified platform. So information is coming there. Is basically MBAs that the bloggers are disseminating to the lawyers and the public to have knowledge of this is what is going on.
Okay.
Am I still on?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Bridget. I think network seems to be failing for some of our panelists. I sent the question to Unini. I don't think she got it, and I don't know whether she saw the question at all. But I want to thank you all for this time. It's been an awesome time, and we're going to do this again next week Tuesday. Let me excite you. Next week Tuesday is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. We are going to be doing something around fintech. We are going to be doing something that is massive. And I want to just urge you, just block your time, 4 p.m. on Tuesday next week. Let's excite our minds again. Let's explore ideas. For those of you that have been able to join the WhatsApp group, that's very nice. We'll be able to have conversations much more regularly. The new world we are coming to is about collaboration. You cannot do it by yourself again. And then if before you're used to solo way of life, when you have an information, you don't want to share it. When you have an idea, you don't want to share it so that you can spring surprises. I'm here to announce to you that you are no longer relevant. The new time we are in requires a lot of collaboration. People must need to share ideas. People will need to encourage themselves. You will need to build traction, build network. It's not going to be enough for you to be popular. The question is, you are popular for what? What kind of values are you adding? How responsible are you for the lives of others and for the kind of profession we are building? And that's what this is all about. It's about building a bond. I don't need to know you. The world has gone beyond. We went to the same school. We live in the same area. We need to relate globally. This meeting is holding now, and I'm seeing people joining in from the United States. I'm seeing people from Canada. I'm seeing people from some other African countries who are also Nigerians, and they are lawyers, and they are participating in this conversation. We need to foster that kind of relationship and open our minds and understand that we need to grow the Nigerian bar, and we as lawyers need to be prosperous in this bar. Unini Choma, the Nigerian lawyer, I thank you so very much. You've been so awesome. I see you back. Thank you for your time. Barrister NG, Madam Bridget Edokwe, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I thank you very much. I want everybody to just click on their reactions and put your hands together on reactions for all our panelists. Maupe in absentia, I thank you. I want to thank Larry Fashola of ESQ. Thank you very much. Akaode Agbedejobe of Legal Nigeria, and Adedumade Onibokun of Legal Nigeria, and of course, the Newswire boss, Gloria Ireka. Thank you very much, every one of you. You made this happen, and you made this worth our time. I want to urge you all again, take time to go and watch this video. For every time we have had this session, I've had to watch the video again for me to particularly engage in all the information that has been shared. So immediately after this, in the next 10-20 minutes, it will be live on YouTube. The link has already been shared in the chat room. And already it is live on Facebook. In fact, we have more people that have watched it on Facebook than have been with us here on Zoom. So immediately after now, it already is live on Facebook, and it's going to go live on YouTube in the next 5-10 minutes. Do well for yourself to practice all the things you've heard here. I want to see how those of us that have been part of this will leverage the media to promote ourselves, to promote our law practice, without, of course, offending the rules of professional conduct. My name remains Charles Ajiboye, and Penthouse Law remains your partner for progress. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in the WhatsApp group or next week Tuesday at 4 p.m. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.